First of all, I saw a lot of hands go up for like the intermediate level pickup, okay? So what that says to me is that you go out quite a bit, you do your approaches, but a lot of the time you're going home alone, you're frustrated, you're inconsistent, you don't have an absolute clear idea of what's right or wrong. All things that you want to change, right? So one massive paradigm, one massive, huge, amazing paradigm that I want you to get from me and take today and use forevermore is that you are training to be high value, okay? You are training to be high value. That means you're never going to be attracted to anyone ever again. How then can you pick up girls if you're not attracted to anybody ever again? You're going to get bored, frustrated with the girls, leave the set, think they're inferior, think they're not attractive, and you're never actually going to pick up girls because you're not attracted, all right? At the beginning of my bootcamp, I say to the students this. Now that you're training to become high value, now you're doing work and self-development and personal growth, you're going ahead in life. You're becoming a man, like you're becoming an alpha male. And what are, the girls that you're going to go out to meet this weekend, what are they doing right now? Right now? Watching TV. Okay, what are you doing? You're coming out to make your life better, to take action, but to create more interactions, to network better, to have a more fulfilled life, to have a better influence. You're rising up, okay? You're becoming better. And one thing that a lot of guys learning pickup struggle with is leaving behind the boyhood mentality that a girl might give you some kind of like fulfillment, or she might be everything that you want in life, but she won't, okay? So the paradigm that I want to present to you, that I want you to take for today, is that you'll never be attracted to a girl ever again. And when you approach and interact and game and pick up girls, it's got to be from the framework of I am the man in her life frame, okay? Similar to like an older brother or a father, but it's a man in her life frame, okay? The massive problem that I see that intermediate guys have is they leave set. They leave set. That set's not going anywhere. That girl's not interested in me. She's not keen. I'm not that attracted to her anyway. She's dumb. She's boring. She's naive. Okay? She's hot, but she's immature. She's really like pretty, but she's an attention-seeking bitch. How the fuck are you going to persist in the set and persist with your own growth if these ideas are going through your head? But if you have the paradigm shift, if you think the way an alpha male, abundant, attractive guy thinks, then you don't approach the girl to pick her up. You approach the girl to adopt her, okay? That's the paradigm. You approach the girl to adopt her. That's how I think. But you guys, relative to the girls that you're gonna meet, especially the academic type girls out here in Cambridge area who don't focus on their social skills, as I found out last night, like I met a fucking Harvard law graduate whose vocabulary was weird and seriously. Weird and seriously, that's weird. Seriously, weird. I'm like, you're like, I dropped out of college, but I can string a vocabulary together, and you're like a multicultural, like well-traveled person. You can't even think for yourself. Okay, what would most guys do? Just leave. Or, excuse me, they would just leave or judge her badly. And the other really kind of messed up thing is that if you're coming at girls from the paradigm that you're trying to get them into your life, that you're trying to pick them up and get up to their level, you make the fatal mistake of thinking that their bad reaction or their lower value or their subordinate value or their bad social skills toward you in the interaction with you has something to do with your bad game. Not at all. Not at all, okay? You're doing a fucking self-help seminar. You're doing self-development. You're training to become higher value. They are not. They don't even want to be. So let me then say the way that you're going to approach and pick up these girls is truly an adoption frame, okay? It's one with patience and empathy and a slower time frame, okay? The true skill that you need to perform and execute to be good at getting girls is to keep the set going. And the reason why most guys don't have that skill is because they get bored, all right? So I know that when I approach any girl in the bar, she's not as linear-minded as us guys. she's going to be all over the place, which I need to be patient with. Okay? That means I re-approach the same girl many, many times. If you ever thought that a girl running away was because of your bad game, okay, it probably isn't. Okay? If you're completely creepy and intense, yes, it is. All right? Okay? If you don't shower, yes, it is. If you don't brush your teeth and have dandruff, yes, it is. And there's a lot of guys who have these weird, fatal flaws that fuck up their game for no reason. Okay? But I have girls run away from me all the time in situations in the past where I've done the same type of approach and it's worked fine. You guys know that girls are not like attention seekers, they're just arousal junkies. And that means they want to speak to a lot of attractive guys during the night, not just one, because there's more arousal from a combination of attractive guys than just one, obviously. But you need to be patient with that girl and her immaturity and her sporadic thinking to be able to go back in set over and over and over again. For the new guys here, the guys who don't do many approaches, if you go and approach a girl and she runs away, I want you to think of it in reality, which is it just didn't work out that time. That's how I take it, and that's how it actually is. If you're in the same bar as that girl and you're socially, well, mildly socially well adjusted, which is pretty easy to do, then you know the girl's not going to sit on you all night. Okay, let it go and dance, let her go to the bathroom, then go back, then go back, then go back. Too many guys make the excuse and they fuck up their own game, their push, their development and their results because they think that once the girl's left, it's over. Okay, the biggest problem, and now I'm talking again to the intermediate guys, and I'm talking as though I was coaching myself. The biggest problem that I have is losing my patience. Okay, it's actually really, really easy to be attractive and a cool guy and attract the girl. Okay, because you know that a girl's reaction when she's attracted to you is just a kind of a quiet and attentive and evasive thing. Do you realize that? Like a girl becomes evasive when she gets overwhelming stimulus, i.e. attractive guy, fight or flight reaction. Okay? It's kind of funny, like, when you spoke to really hot girls, who here is like a geek? We're in Harvard, right? We're in the Harvard areas. Yeah, there would have been a lot of geeky kids at school here. Remember when you spoke to the hot girls at high school? Like you get kind of overwhelmed and you just like evade. That's what they do now, all right? So how can that work? She is in an evasive, defensive, flighty mindset because she's being overwhelmed by guys. If you think that you need to do something special to pick up this girl or intense or in her face, that's going to completely mess up the process in this paradigm that I want you to have. You've got to think of the patient, make her feel calm, make her feel relaxed. And as a guy learning higher value, you need to downwardsly connect with subordinate people, okay? That's such a key point, such a key point. When I go out, I think, yeah, these people aren't as socially intelligent as me. They don't have as good social vocabulary, expression, empathy, none of that kind of thing. Otherwise, the set won't go forward into a place of isolation when you can actually get a result, okay? Think longer term in the interaction. Think about how to have a long interaction. The point is, the attraction is going on in front of you just by you approaching, just by you interacting and holding the interaction. How do we relate the term seduction into cold approach pickup these days? We all know, or you should know from programs like that the longer that you speak to a girl, the more you are her environment, and women get turned on externally by the environment that they're in. So the more you chat and interact, and the longer that the interaction goes on, the more she can't help but be turned on and aroused by her environment, i.e. you, and that is seduction. So if you want to seduce the girl, you've got to have that adoption frame, that patience frame to keep talking until she does start to become seduced. And that's that kind of textbook pickup, and that's how it can work. A complete paradigm shift away from like actively gaming the girl. Released a video that I haven't watched in full yet. What's it called? Where are you? The or something? Is he just outside the room? What was his video this? Okay. The first thing that I teach to a student is that you are enough. You already are attractive just by doing your approach. Okay. Your problem then is not how do you impress the girl. It's how do you prevent her from running away. And again, it's not how do you be impressive? It's how do you calm her down? How do you calm yourself down to make her relax? So instead of her being skeptical or defensive to you, or standoffish, or stereotyping you as a drunken bar guy or a creepy guy approaching her in the street, or even simpler than that. She's just going to think of you as an unfamiliar stimulus. You need to change that by having that more patient kind of vibe. And that's by empathizing with her, saying that I understand how you feel about me. I know that this isn't usual for you. Clearly articulating that you can see how you're coming across to her, and that helps with that adoption frame that I want you to have, okay? So, picture that paradigm shift in your head. I'm trying to relate to the times when I was intermediate at pickup, and I'd be like rushing from set to set to set to set to set, trying to luckily get a girl to hook or maybe hold her attention, okay? But now it's not like that. I know that if I just keep going back and being patient and being patient and being patient, I'm eventually going to get through to her. So my energy never gets over the top. I never feel burnt out. I never elicit a defensiveness from the girl or a standoffishness. Because if you make a girl one bit defensive, that quickly becomes like the Great Wall of China defense. It's fucked up. But if you can calm the girl down and you can make her just a little bit open to communication, then that little bit of communication becomes a thick emotional exchange, which accelerates stimulation, arousal, and turn on. And that's how you can be more effective at seduction from this framework. So it has more ramifications as well. If you want to be attractive to girls, this is an epiphany that I had last week in watching video, which was a really good kind of peer review exercise that I hadn't done before. If you have a certain vibe, the chill, alpha male, non-entertainer man, just a chatty guy who knows how to initiate contact, who doesn't get pushed out of set easily, you have a really chill vibe in the bar. You have no sense of urgency. You have a sense of abundance. You have a sense of self-centeredness to develop your own good mood, to state transfer that outwards, as opposed to like tapping into others' good mood and trying to prove something to yourself with pickup. Fuck that. Okay, it can't be like that. The man in the life frame, the patient frame, the adoption frame, that's what I want you to start to ruminate on. And like let that, when I say ruminate on it, it's like installing software that kind of like filters its way into your consciousness, which later on automatically initiates the behaviors that you do and initiates the responses that you have, in social situations. So the more you think about that, the more it sinks in, the more you get it, the better results you're going to get. And for any guy here, it's like an inevitable paradigm shift from like beta male, young man thinking to alpha male, abundant, I get it, I have options, life is good, let's get on with business, networking, families, travel kind of thinking. And for any of the guys here who truly get it, I know, if the other guys here listening to this, once you get it, it's this exponential thing that just makes you more and more attractive. Once you cross that paradigm shift barrier to being a patient guy and realizing that when you approach, you've got to downwardsly connect, with subordinates, as opposed to impressing people who are subordinate anyway, it just gets really, really good, okay? And that's how it works, okay? So that's the idea, the seed that I want to plant. And then, you've got all these other pickup ideas floating around in your head, moves and behaviors and lines and executions. Sure, you can still have all those, but I want them to be coming from a different place internally, from a personally evolved place where you can do the same things, but it's from a frame of patience, okay? I'll get to you in a second. Yeah. Let's now look at it, think about it from the girl's perspective, all right? It's good to try to do this from time to time to see what the girl's thinking. If you're a single girl, do you know how much more crazy and sporadic and desperate and inconsistent that is than being a single guy? Okay, especially at the age of 24 or 25, all right? Do you guys have, guys here who have sisters or who have had long-term relationships know how a girl really is, okay? Imagine if you guys had very obvious physical blemishes or flaws, you would be so overly aware of that. It would be on your mind the entire time, okay? If you had any imperfections, you'd be wrapped up in those. And girls, when they're in the bar, they are absolutely wrapped up in being evasive towards people seeing them for their imperfections. That's every girl you're going to meet tonight is well and truly less than a Victoria's Secret model well and truly less, obviously massively imperfect. So if you do want to get to that girl who is a 9 out of 10, not a 10 out of 10, you just got to be patient with her as she deals with her own imperfections, and then you can get the girl, okay? As opposed to not empathizing with her at all, and then just making her defensive and kind of confused. From the girl's point of view, she thinks that she wants a guy who behaves and conducts and feels as though he's got his life under control, that he's got the social situation handled, and be the sort of guy who can make her feel comfortable with him. And when you then act completely differently from that, she's just going to get confused and bail out. She's going to be like, I don't get this, and walk away, okay? You ever have somebody who's like a drunken bum ever come and approach you in the street? You don't understand their behavior. It doesn't gel with your reality, so it's not going to be in your reality, okay? Sure, maybe you don't have the experience yet that has you thinking and feeling that you can approach, pick up, and cold approach pickup in the social world from this paradigm. But you've got to plant the seed and allow the behaviors to catch up over time, okay? So that's basically the idea that I want to present in my 40 minutes or so today, is that massive paradigm shift. And to articulate it clearly is not to try to game girls or impress people, but look at it from a completely evolved, different perspective, that you need to make them feel comfortable from your position of authority, downwardly connect with subordinates, and be patient with people who are overly self-conscious of their imperfections, so much so that they push away good opportunities, which is the guys that are approaching them, picking them up. You guys ever feel like you're inferior for new opportunities? That's how girls feel when you approach them, okay? Especially if you're doing self-help, self-development, and these kind of seminars. I imagine if you do this, you also do other self-help things. You go out and practice pickup. You read the forums, you watch DVDs, you torrent them, whatever, okay? You realize that this is not what the girls are doing right now. They might actually be, binging and purging, drinking away their weekly drama, And you know what? It's not fair to say that about girls. It's fair to say that about people, okay? People who aren't in this seminar, all right? It's not just chicks, it's people in general. So if you are here, realize that the rest of the world is not, and you need to take more responsibility and extend that to people below you. All right. Hopefully that's more than clear enough. Yeah. Any other questions about it? Yeah, mate.
What did you notice about yourself when you started to feel that transformation take place in yourself? What things did you notice? What were you aware of?
Well, for me, it was a little bit different because I'm like role. Before I was in, and you guys can read this story on my blog online. It's called on www.com. But before I was in this, I was like the classic, I need help, I'm a loser, I don't have any girls in my life kind of pick-up community story. But I did, and I had a lot of fun. It was very innocent. Then I went to Las Vegas to maybe become an instructor. And then I did 9 weeks of training, 4 with and 8 or 7 or something with, no, maybe like 12, 11, something like that, training to become an instructor. And this was at the age of 21. So very much a boy. And at the time I dropped out of my university where I was studying psychology because I couldn't afford it anymore. My parents disowned me. I hated them, whatever. So I was on my own. I only worked at a box factory doing dumb labor, even though I did get into like a very good, well, the best school in my state in Australia. And he went on holidays when I was staying at his place. And it was my first program where I was going to be coaching on my own was coming up that week. It was really gay, actually. The OC came on. And I just started like crying, bawling my eyes out because I realized like, shit, Alex, you now have gone from being a nothing to having the role of leadership that could potentially change people's lives. But if you fuck up somebody's life. So for me, it was completely different. But to relate, like my brothers were my wingmen, and the way that I would definitely want you guys to think of it and experience it for yourself, there's going to come a time where you're going to say, I'm 23, 24 years old, I'm 40 years old, I'm 50 years old, whatever. I've had so much life experience. I've had so many social interactions. What more is there to gain, to become whole, to become enough. So it's not like a distinct level that you get to, but eventually you flip it over and you think, there's nothing more that I need to do. And when you get to that stage, that I am enough stage, that's like going from not being in the NBA to getting drafted to be an NBA grade player. Sure, you're at the highest level. You get it. You are enough to be in that league. But you still have expert consultant coaches who work with you continuously because, you relate and you have the best potential. It's like peer support. So that's how you reconcile needing self-help and coaching with being enough. It's like all these guys here in the audience, you all are enough, and I come to you as your consultant, like conceptually below you, as opposed to the guru, who's above you, and you like look up at me and prop me up. It's the other way around, okay? So that's the way that I want you guys to think about it. Like, when do you think that there's nothing more? Well, there's probably not much more. There's probably not much more that I need to do here to think that I get it, I've made it in this context of my life, and now I can look at it from a established I get it point of view, and now I need to shift my attention not to impressing people and achieving something, but rather bringing them up to my level, okay? And I was well and truly beyond that in reality, but I just didn't feel that because in my line of work here as an instructor, we need to be the ones innovating these kinds of ideas and then relating it back conceptually to plant the seeds to transform, other followers